What's up, Lost Boys? Here we are with another fantasy football recap video. This week we're going to talk about week 11 that just got done last night. Let's get right into it. We're going to start with our matchup of the week from last week. It was Tim versus Justin. I had this as our matchup of the week as in Tim's been rolling pretty good. He's in our playoff hunt. He was going against Justin. Justin's been on a roll. He's been beating a lot of teams that are higher than him on the standings, and he's been making a late season push for about 5 or 6 weeks now. Maybe the hottest team in the league or one of them, and he came up against him. It looked like he was going to win this game for the majority of the week. Uh, Once again, Justin just keeps doing. I mean, he was. I'm going to list a couple guys that Justin started in fantasy football this week: Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Charles Tillman, Alexander Madison, Raheem Mostert. These guys, they shouldn't be started by anyone this far into the season. Maybe Charles Tillman by some people because of injuries. And yet, Justin looked like he had a clear path to victory. Burrow went off. Puka's, he got him back from injury a few weeks ago. He's been doing great. Jamison Williams, he picked him up off the free agent market after his 2-game suspension. He got him 20 points. Speaking of picking up off the free agent market and getting him points, Chris Boswell, 24 points for Justin. Your kicker gets you 24 points, you win in fantasy. Unfortunately for him, Kelsey only 1 point, completely killed him. Mahomes only 15 points that week are against the Bills, and most are negative -0.2. He still was up by about 50 points going into last night's game. But what happened? Tim had a slight chance. He had a small chance according to Yahoo. I think it was 80-20-ish. It didn't matter. Tim, Joe Mixon, Houston D, down 43 points or something. Mixon goes for 34 points. Houston D gets a touchdown, gets him around 20. Tim beats Justin by 10 points. Every single week when I talk about Tim's team, the X factor is his running backs. Gibbs, A-Chain, Mixon. They got him like 70 points this week. Once again, that's Tim's strength. We're not even talking about JJ. Tim's team is scary. He needs a little bit more from his quarterbacks, I think, in the playoffs, but he gets the huge comeback win this week against Justin, and Justin takes a rough loss. He needed a victory this week. He's still not out of it, but he needed the victory. Next, we're going to look at Denny versus Jace, and this one it was tough because both of them scored a good amount of points. Jace's team performed well, but Denny, he's the best team in the league. He's first place. I think he's been the best team in the league all year, and he proved it again. Goff finally scored a lot of touchdowns. I mean, the whole Lions team scored a lot of touchdowns. Herbert has come on the last 4 or 5 weeks. He's been in the weak point. And now Denny's team, if those quarterbacks are clicking, he's unbeatable. He's unbeatable. I mean, Kupp, A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, DeAndre Hopkins. He clearly has the best wide receivers in the league. He has horse turd hair. Denny put up 180 points and didn't even get anything from horse turd hair. Didn't even get anything really from A.J. Brown. Didn't even get anything from DeAndre Hopkins. And yet his team is just that good all the way around. Jace, on the other hand, his team's been rolling lately. I mean, he started out 0-5 and he's still kind of pushing for the playoffs. So Hurts did well. Gino did okay. Amon-Ra got him 33 points. If you get 33 points from a player, you should a position player, you should probably win your fantasy week this week. Unfortunately, Devontae Smith, Tony Pollard, I think got hurt in that game. ETN, I think Jace has lost every game that he started ETN this year, which is unfortunate, but he had to play him because of buys. And Tucker missed like 19 field goals, but I don't think it would have mattered. Denny still won pretty comfortably here. He keeps rolling. Jace really needed this victory to stay in the playoff hunt. Speaking of staying in the playoff hunt, Cal, he faced Josh this week. He really needed a victory this week, and he just couldn't do it. Josh got lucky this week, back-to-back weeks with Josh getting lucky, having an opponent that doesn't score a lot of points. It looked like Cal had a good shot. He went into Monday Night Football down around 40 points. He had Stroud, he had Nico. And on the, I think it was like the first or second play of the game, long bomb to Nico Collins for a touchdown gets called back. I mean, that could have got Cal started off on the comeback train. Instead, it was the opposite. Houston beat the shit out of Dallas, but it was all through Joe Mixon. It was all through the run game, and it was through their defense. Stroud wasn't needed to score points. Nico looked really good when he was on his way back. They just didn't need to throw the ball. Cal had a couple weak points. Kareem Hunt didn't do much. His tight end got him 0, which is absolutely brutal for him. He got some good fortune Sunday night. McConkey got him 15 points. His kicker got him 12 when Josh's kicker was missing a bunch of field goals. So that helped him get back in the game. But Bijan really had an off week this week, and it really helped Josh. Josh's team still struggles to score touchdowns. Like I said, he's gotten really fortunate the last few weeks playing against low-scoring teams. And he needed to win these last two because he has a lot of buys coming up these next few weeks. Jaden Daniels has not looked like the same quarterback since he came back from getting hurt in the ribs. He doesn't run the ball anymore. Scary Terry got him 1 point this week. TJ Hawkinson got him 2. I mean, Josh's team, they won. They looked okay. They scored around 140. He still has Josh Allen, but in general, Josh's team is not looking too good right now. Next game we're going to talk about, Llama takes down Learning Computer. This was a off-wall prediction last week, and Ryan's team, it's been looking pretty good. Jamar Chase looks like the best fantasy player right now. He seems to do good almost every single week. Burrow's having to throw the ball a lot, and he's going to target Jamar Chase. If Ryan gets a really good game from his quarterbacks, which they were okay, they scored him about 40 points this week. If he does that, he's a pretty good team. With Chase, he started Jerry Jeudy, who did awesome this week, 23 points. But Chase Brown, Austin Eckler seems to become Jaden Daniels' favorite target now. So Ryan's team comes through, takes down Matt, 156 points. Big part of it was the Chase-Jeudy combo. Sam Darnold did pretty good. Matt's team has been shaky for a while. His record is still great. But, you're seeing the cracks come through right now. Russell Wilson did really bad. Jordan Love's been okay. He scores him 20, which is good. Saquon, but to lose when you score 33 points from Saquon, that's got to be frustrating. Speaking of frustrating, Jonathan Taylor, I feel like he should be scoring more points. He's a better player than this, especially with A-Rich back with the run-pass option. But he only got him 6 this week. He's been getting subpar or pro performances from JSN, and he's still not able to take the dub. We'll see if Matt can get his luck turned around right now. He's lost a few of recently, and now he has fallen all the way to 4th place after being in 1st place a lot of the year. And last but not least this week, we're going to go to our final game, our biggest ass whipping of the week. And look who it is, Pat. He gets on the winning side of the coin for once this year. 164 to 88, almost doubles Cass's points this week. It was an interesting situation. If you look at Pat's bench, he took like 5 quarterbacks this week. He did not allow Cass to pick up a quarterback. We don't really ever see this in our league. Cass had 1 quarterback. He couldn't find another quarterback. There literally wasn't one on the free agent market. And I don't think it would have mattered because Pat's team went off. And we're going to talk about Pat's team going off because he hasn't had a lot of good fortune this year. Lamar actually was kind of not that good this week, and he still scored 164. He started Anthony Richardson. This is the guy that Pat drafted him to be. 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown, 28 fantasy points. If he would have had this guy all year, Pat's team could have been in a completely different spot. T. Higgins, also the guy he drafted him to be. He's back healthy, got him 25 points. David Montgomery's, the Lions right now, any Lion, he should be starting. Christian McCaffrey, Brock Bowers. It may be too late for Pat. It may be too late. But if these guys that he drafted early in the draft, A-Rich, Higgins, McCaffrey, he's got all his team back. There's a slight chance he runs the table. It's going to have to start this week in a big, huge matchup he has. We'll get into that in just a second. Cass, on the other hand, our Super Bowl champion, guys. Now, mathematically, he is not out of it. But with him being 3 games back right now, his team hasn't looked good. His points haven't looked good. His injuries are piling up. This may be a case where our Super Bowl champ misses the playoffs, and let's hope it doesn't happen because Cass has been so damn good. He battles in the playoffs. He gets to the Super Bowl, but it's just been a rough year for him. So those are all of our matchups from this past week. We're going to look at the standings real quick after those matchups. Denny's in first place, best team in the league, most points scored in the league. He's 8-3, followed by 3, 7, and 4 teams. Josh is in second, Tim is in third, Matt's in fourth. Those are all within points, all based on points. Tim is only 2 points behind Josh for that second place spot. And I think you want to be targeting that second and third place spot. You don't want to face Denny in the first round of the playoffs because he's a juggernaut right now. After that, you have 2, 5, and 6 teams. They are 2 games out right now. Justin and Ryan making late season pushes. Justin needed this win so badly against Tim this week. He would have been tied with Tim. He wouldn't have passed him in points, but he would have been tied with him if he could have just pulled that out. And I already talked about Ryan. His points are really low. He's only 2 games out of the standings, but he wouldn't win a tiebreaker based on points. He probably won't be able to catch these teams in points. We'll see what happens. After those 2 guys, the 7, 8, 9, 10 teams are all tied at 4 and 7. All tied at 4 and 7. They're 3 games out. Most of them are behind in points by a pretty good margin. Every single one of these teams has to win out. They have to win the rest of their games. With only 4 games remaining, they have to make up 3. So they need to win every single game, and they need to win them pretty handily. We'll see if that's possible. I mentioned Pat's team getting back healthy. If any of these teams has a chance, I think it's Pat, maybe Jace. But those are the only 2 in my opinion. So those are our standings, guys. Let's look at week 12 real quick. I mentioned Pat. He's got a huge matchup this week. He's got to keep his run going, and he plays Josh. And he picked a right week to play Josh. Josh has all of his guys on bye. Josh Allen, Breece Hall, Devontae Adams. It's a great week to play Josh, and I think Pat takes the dub this week. I mean, his team is back healthy, like I mentioned. David Montgomery, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Bowers looks like a beast. Looks like the best tight end in the league right now. Lamar Jackson playing the Chargers. Anthony Richardson playing Detroit. Now, I know Detroit's defenses look pretty good, but I'm going to assume that is a ridiculously high-scoring game. Going to be awesome for Pat. Josh, like I said, he has all his buys. His matchups aren't really that good. He's in a rough spot. I think this is a week that Josh is lucky. Like I said, he's been lucky the last few weeks with his opponents not scoring a lot. I think his luck falls off this week, and I think Pat takes him down and moves to 5 and 7 and keeps the miracle alive. Next, we're going to go with Tim versus Jace. I mentioned Jace being one of those teams that has to win out. I don't know if it's going to continue to happen. He plays Tim. Tim's team looks really good. His team's fully healthy right now. All of his running backs are playing this week. All of his running backs have really good matchup. A-Chain against the Patriots, Gibbs against the Colts, Mixon against Tennessee. I mean, all these running backs are just going to be the difference in this game, like they are every game. I mean, you're comparing those guys to Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, and whoever. Jace doesn't even have a third running back really worth starting. I do think that Jalen Hurts is going to give Jace a chance. I think Amon-Ra is going to give Jace a chance this week, but I think Tim's team's just better. I think Justin Jefferson finally has a coming out party this week against the Bears, and he finally gets Tim above 20 points. It's about time for JJ to have one of those 150, 10 catches, 1 touchdown games. So I think Tim takes down Jace. Denny, first place, steamroller right now, takes on Cal. Cal's team's in a rough spot right now, guys. He's not looking good. He's lost a couple. He has Bijan Robinson on bye this week. And then you look at the other side of the matchup. Denny has no one on bye. He's rolling. He has the best team in the league. I think he flicks Cal away like an old booger that he's rolled up. Sorry, Cal. I think your season officially comes to an end this week. Denny keeps things rolling. he's the man to beat. Stay clear of Denny. Next, we're going to go with the matchup of the week. Biggest one by far. Justin versus Ryan. These two guys are in that 5th place spot. They have to make up at least 2 games, I think, based on the points. Now, technically they are, they're 2 games behind, but they really have to make up 3 games based on the points. I could be wrong. But either way, they have to win. Justin had the heartbreaker this week against Tim with losing a 40-something point lead going into Monday Night Football. Ryan's team, they're coming along. Ja'Marr Chase is carrying him. But I don't know if I think I see his victory coming. He's starting Bryce Young. He's going against the Chiefs D. Chiefs D has not looked good, so that could be good for Bryce Young. But Chiefs coming off of an L. They might be pretty pissed. They're playing Carolina. It's in Kansas City. Like, Chiefs got to do something, right? They got to whoop some ass. And not to mention, this is the week that it's going to hurt both teams, but this is the week that the Bengals are on bye. So, no Ja'Marr Chase. But because it's going to hurt both teams, Justin loses Joe Burrow, who's been a machine. Now, Justin does have a plethora of quarterbacks, so he'll have a Joe Burrow replacement, but it won't be near the 25, 30 points that Joe Burrow's been getting him every week. Luckily for Justin, a lot of his other guys are here. He's got Puka. He's going to have Kelsey. So this is an interesting matchup. I'm going to give the edge to Justin. I think Mahomes and Kelsey, they do really well against Carolina. They had a shit week last week. All the way around, it was garbage for all Chiefs fans and Chiefs. And I think Justin squeaks out a victory over Ryan, but it's going to be really close. Monster game for both those guys. Last but not least, Learning Computer. He picked a right time to play Cass right now. Cass' team's on the downside. He has Kirk Cousins on bye. He's going to have to start someone else. He has Brian Thomas Jr. on bye, so he has a couple guys on bye. Matt, on the other hand, doesn't really have anyone on bye. He needs a victory. Everyone wants a victory, and Matt's still in 4th place. He's still 2 games ahead of the next place, the 2nd place guy, or the 5th place guy that's chasing him for the playoff spot. So Matt's sitting pretty good, but playing against Cass this week, Matt's sitting really good. I think Matt takes the victory. I think Cass's team is just too banged up. The one thing I think Cass does have a chance is Baker and Tyreek. Tyreek now has Tua back. He's playing against New England. Tyreek could have one of those Tyreek games. 200 yards, 8 catches, 2 touchdowns. And Baker's playing against Giants, which we know how awful the Giants are. So that's Cass's path to victory. I just think that Matt with Saquon, with Jonathan Taylor, with James Conner playing Seattle, I just think Matt's running backs are too strong for Cass. Cass has good running backs, but I think that's going to be the difference. We'll see if Cass can put up a fight. I'm going to give Matt the slight edge in this one, guys. So that is all of our matchups for this week. Like I said, standings are there, guys. It hasn't been mathematically said yet, but I think Denny has playoffs clinched. He is 3 games ahead of everyone else. He's destroying everyone in points. That would mean that theoretically Denny would have to lose every single game the rest of the season, and Matt or Justin, or Ryan or Justin, would have to win every single game the rest of the season to pass him. I don't see that happening. So Denny, he's clinched the playoffs. Josh, Tim, and Matt, if they can get a dub, I think they only need maybe 2 more wins out of these next 4 to basically guarantee him a playoff spot. But guys like Pat, guys like Ryan, guys like Justin, those guys are still fighting. It's still alive. It's still fantasy. Anything can happen. We've seen it a million times. So keep fighting. Love you guys. Have a good day.